Okay. So today we will see the file permissions, right? So what is the permissions? Basically, the file permissions are the allowed operations on the by the various users on the files, right? So what are all operations are there, right? Read, write, and execute. Read is represented by R, write is represented by W, and execute is represented by X, right? So those are the operations users can perform, and we saw the different types of users, right? So we saw the different types of users. What are all different types of users we saw? We saw whenever any particular file is created in the Linux, right? So whenever any specific file is created in the Linux, there are four types of categories, right? The four types of categories are the user, owner, and group, right? User, owner, and group. And we also saw how to represent those users, right? When I say we have a users, right? So user user is represented by U, group is represented by G, other is represented by O, and all is represented by A category. Then we were talking about some analogy, right? We were talking about, so to understand how these users represented in the real time scenario, we were talking about some use case, right? So use case is, let's say we have Jain College automation system, right? So in order to develop this project, the automation project, right? We saw there are different types of model, right? What are all those models are there? We say we have student model, right? We have student model. Student model represented developed by A user, B user, C user, A, B, C, and D. These are the developers working on this model, right? Then you have employee model, right? On employee model, you have X, Y, and Z. These are the two users or the two developers working on the second model. And the third is your courses model, right? So courses model, you have M, N are working, right? And then fourth module, we saw the, let's say, infra module, right? On infra module, there are G, H are working, right? So so basically G, H, these are the developers working. So we have the Jain College automation system. In order to develop this project, we have student module. In student module, we have ABCD developers working, and employee module, we have X, Y, Z. These are the three developers working. And for courses module, we have M and N right? Not M. So M and N, these are the developers working on the courses module. And we have another, which is infrastructure module. On infrastructure module, we have G and H. These are the developers working. Now, let's say we have a developer A, which is in the first module, right? Which is in the first module. Let's say developer A created one file. Let's say file name is Jain underscore index dot, let's say txt, right? So this is the one of the file created by the A developer, right? So in this case, right, for this Jain underscore index file, right, you can see what is the user or owner, who is the user and owner for this A, because A created this file. So A developer is the owner or the user of this file. And what is the group? In this case, the group is B, C, D, right? So this is the group, right? Because if you see for student module, A is the one of the developer, and once A create this Jain and index.txt, so the user or the owner will be the A. A developer is the owner or the user of this file, which is Jain underscore index.txt. And whatever the leftover developers are there, those leftover developers are considered as the group. So that those will be fall into the group category, right? Now, what is the next category? We have other category, right? So other category will be X, right? The order category is X, Y, Z, M, N, and G and H, right? So this is the person. These are the developers working on other models, right? So just to explain this scenario, I mean this category of the users, what I said, we have the use case. The use case is Jain College Automation Project. Let's say this is the project. And in this project, if I want to represent these user categories, right? How I subcategorize, I mean, how all these users fall into the different categories based on their operations, right? So you can see the developer A created one file, and that file is, let's say, a Jain index.txt. So based on the operations, you can see the user or the owner is a developer, right? So A is the, which is one of the developer which is working on the student module, but now he is the owner of the Jain index.txt, and the rest of the people means from this module B, C, D developers, those will fall into the group category, right? Those will be fall into your group category, and whatever the leftover users are there, those will be fall into the other category. So similarly, in Linux or the Unix or in Ubuntu, what happens? the whoever is doing the operation based on the operations. So mainly whoever is creating the file is considered as the owner of that file, right? So till now we were discussing the first 3 bits will be belonging to the users, right? But when we talk about the permissions, there is a other terminology. By using the user can be a owner. So when user can be a owner, the user is considered as a owner when he created that file, or he actually owns the ownership of that file. Then that particular user is known as the owner or the owner of that file, right? And group means what? It is the a number of developers from same module, but since they have not created, they belongs to the group, right? So basically this Jain index.txt is belonging to your student module, and A created that file. Because of that, he is the owner, right? And all rest of the developers will belonging to the group, right? And other people from other modules will be fall into your other category, right? So this is the same analogy, or the same example we can use, or it simulates the user categories, right? How user categories, how there are different users categories are there in the Linux, and how the users will be fall into these different categories, right? So if you know now, I have Ubuntu account, Vipul has Ubuntu account, Vikram has a Ubuntu account. We have a separate dedicated users. But if at all we are working in company, normally there will be only one system, normally one server we will be accessing. So we will be having a different users, but for a same operating system. So in that case, in those scenarios, whoever is creating the file is the owner of the file. He is the uh, owner of the file, and rest of the people will be fall into the group. Let's say we are belonging from some the IT background, right? So IT group. So if suppose Vipul create some file, so Vipul will be the owner of that file, right? And rest of the people will be the group, and the leftover people from the organization will be considered as the other category, right? So this explains the user category. Now we will see the next topic, right? So next is permissions type, right? So permission type. So basically we saw already, right? So for files and directories, there are 4 types of categories, right? If you want a permission types, right? So there are 4 types of permissions. What are all those permissions we saw? The permissions are read, right? Then we saw read, which is represented as R, right? Then we saw write, which is represented by W. Then we saw execute, which is represented as X. Then no permission, right? So no permission is represented by a dash, right? So by using a dash, it is represented. So basically, execute is represented by X character. Write permission is represented by W character. Read is represented by a R character. So these are the different types of the permissions. So basically, when we say a read permissions, right? So how it works? How it works means what? When I say I have the read permissions or the write permission on a file, what do you mean by that? When I say I have read permission on the file, it means read permission for the file means we can view the content of the file, right? And when I say a read permission on the directory means what? The read permission for the directory means we can list out the content of the directory. That is, we can use the ls command. So, let's say let's say let's say we have different permissions, right? So when I say this is for read, this is for write, and this is for execute permission, right? And let me so this is the, let's say, permission types, right? This is, let's say, this is for file, right? This is for directory, right? When I say read, which is represented as R, right? Then when I say write, let's say write, write is represented as W. Then we have execute, which is represented as X, right? So when I say a read, right? Read on a file. What do you mean by that? So read on a file means what? We can view the content of file. Means what? You can read that file. And in case of directory, when I say we have a read permissions means what? A user can list out the content of directory, right? So basically, what do you mean by list out the content of the directory? We can use the ls command, right? So ls command is allowed in case of read. So when I say any particular user has a read access on a file, it means that user can view or read the content of the file. And whenever we say a read permission on the directory, it means what? That user can list out the content of the file, means what? He can use the ls command. So similarly, the write permission means what? The user can modify the content of file, right? So basically, when we say the user has a write permission, it means he can modify the content of the file. And in directory, let's say user has the write permission for the directory, means what? User can modify the content of directory. Means what? In this case, it is applicable to file. Whenever in file we say user has a write permission, means he can modify the content of the file. And when we say the user has a write permission on the directory, it means the user can modify the content of directory. Means what? He can create file in directory, right? And delete files in directory. Means what? So if whenever we say a user has a write permission on the directory, it means the user can modify the content of the directory, right? As well as modify the content of directory means what? He can add some new file into the directory. In other words, I can say user can create the file in the directory, as well as he can delete the file in the directory. That is called as the write permission, right? Now, when we say execute, a user has the execute permission. So basically, user can execute the file, right? So basically, execute means what? Execute is means what? It's like a normal program. Means what? So basically, in shell script, whenever we specify the execute permission, so once we call that file, basically whatever the programs is there, program written in that file, so that program will get executed. So that is called as the execution permission, right? So whenever we say user has the execute permission, so user can execute that file. And whenever they execute permission on the directory, means what? Means user can enter into the directory, right? And user can, how, in order to enter into the directory, what command we should use? See, we are normally using change directory, right? So basically, whenever we say a user has the different permissions, right? So different permission means what? These are the permissions we saw: read, write, execute, right? And no permission. No permissions means the user don't have the read, write, or execute. That is called as the read permission. And in the symbolic representation, the read is represented by R, the write is represented as W, the execute permission is represented in symbolic way by using X, and the no permission is represented by a dash. And these are the some of the permissions, right? When we say read, it means user can read the file or the view the content of the file, right? And for directory, it can read the content of the directory. Means what? I can do the ls command, right? So it means if I am not able to do the ls command on any directory, if it is showing a no permission, it means I don't have the read permission. We will see in a moment how this works and how we can manipulate these permissions. But for now, the what you should remember there are three, in fact, main three types of permissions, and there is one more symbolic representation is there. Whenever there is no permission, you can represent it by, that is represented by a dash, right? And different types of permissions: read, write, execute. Whenever we say read is on the file, means user can read the content of the file. Whenever it is on directory, it means user can list out the content of directory. Means by using the ls command, he can list out the files and directories present in the directory. And then write permission means what? The user can modify the content of the file, right? So user can modify the content of the file. And whenever we say a write permission on directory, means what? User can create the files and add some new file to the directory, or the delete the files in the directory. That is nothing but the write operation in the case of directory. And when we say execute, right? So normally the execute is a normal program basically. So based on the file, so if it is a shell script file, so once you execute, it actually execute the program written in the shell script file, right? So whenever we say execute permission, so user can execute the file, right? That is specific to a file. And whenever we say the directory has the executable permission, means what? You can enter into that directory. Means by using a cd command, you can do a change directory. That is called as the execute permission, right? So remember, these are the some of the permissions available in the file system in order to perform the different operations, right? Now we will see the operations related to the permissions, right? Let's say operations related to permissions, right? So what do you mean by that? So operations related to permissions means what? Suppose you want to add permissions, or you want to remove, or you want to assign, right? So how you can do that? And what are all symbols are used, or what are all signs used whenever you want to add the permissions? Let's say I want to add the permission, I can use a plus sign. So basically the plus sign is used in order to add the permission to user group, or all other, or the all user category. So basically what happens, by using a plus sign, I can add the permission to the user group, or other, or the all user category. By using a minus sign, I can remove the permission to user group and other, or all category of users. And when I say a equal sign, by using equal sign, you can assign a particular permission to user group, or other, or all category of users. So basically, so these are the some of the operations, right? Or these are the some of the operations related to permissions. By using plus sign, you can add the permission. By using minus sign, you can remove the permission. By using equal sign, you can assign the permissions, right? Now we will see the actual command used to manipulate this permission. So we already know, like suppose we want to manipulate the permission, right? So what command is used? So command used is chmod, right? So by using a chmod command, you can change the mode of the file, right? So basically chmod means what? A change mode, right? So by using a chmod, what we can do, we can change the permission assigned to the directory or the file, right? So basically chmod stands for a change mode, and change mode, we can use a change mode command to change the permission assigned to the directory. So this is the basically the syntax of the change mode, right? So chmod, then user category, operation, and permission, right? File name or directory. So if I want an example, how I can say chmod u plus x, let's say file is demo.txt, right? So in this case, this u stands for user, x stands for executable permission. So what I am saying, assign the executable permission to this file and at user level. So basically I am changing the user level permission. So this is one of the example. So by using a change chmod command, you can change the mode of the file or the underlying directory, and this is the syntax, right? So you can see the syntax is user category, operation. So basically this is the user category, this is the operation, and this is the permission. So this is the user, we saw this. U stands for user, plus stands for I want to do the operation, this is the operation, right? And x stands for permission, means what, this is the I want to assign the executable permission to the user, right? So by using a chmod commands change, so basically the chmod change mode command is very important whenever you want to manipulate the permissions to the files or the directories, right? Now let's say I want to manipulate the permissions at different levels, means what, at different category. Let's say I say a chmod, I'm saying u plus x, assign the executable permission to the user, and I'm saying assign the group write permission, then the owner remove the read permission, and what is the name of the file, let's say I'm using the same file. So now in this case, in this command, what happens, so user has the executable permission, group has the write permission, the and the owner has the read permission, right? Or the all is, we are kind of removing the permission. So if you see, minus means what, removing the particular permission to the user group or other. So in this case, the u is stands for user, g stands for group, o stands for other group, right? So we know that whenever we create a file, there are 9 bits. Well, the first 3 bits will be representing the user group, right? The second 3 bits will be representing the group. The last 3 will be representing the other. So if you want all permission to be manipulated, how you can do? You can use a change of mode command, and you can say, I want to add user executable. I want to assign the user the executable permission, group write permission, the other user category. I want to remove the read. I don't want them to read the file, this demo.txt. So this is the command. By using this command, basically we can assign the different permissions at different user category, right? Now we will see how to check the permissions of the existing file, right? So if you want to check the permissions to the existing file, what you can do, you can say ls-l, right? So by using ls-l, what you can do, you can how to check permissions of existing file. So how you can say ls-l. So this stands for give me the list of files with long listing. So what it will do, it will give you the long listing. Means let's say you have some demo.txt file, right? So what it will do, it will give you the long listing like this. Let's say right. So in this case, you can see the first. So this is the type of the file. This is the user or the group level permissions, and these are the group level permissions. These are the user or owner level permissions. These are the group level permission, and these are the other group permission. This is the link of the file, right? So basically, this represents type of file, right? This represents user permissions, right? This represents group permissions, and this represents your other permissions. This is the number of links, right? This is the username, user of this file, right? And this is the group name of the file, right? This is the size of the file, right? This represents the size of the file. This is the date and time on which that particular file is created, and this is the name of the file. So this is name of the file. This is date and time, or I can say creation date and time. This is size of the file, right? This is the group of the file. This is the user of the file. This is the number of links to the file. This represents the other permissions, right? This represents the group permission, and this represents the user permission. So basically, in this diagram,